I would like to express sincere appreciation to both Horaces International and Horaces Nigeria.
President Muhammadu Buhari welcomes Partnerships for Nigeria's Development, holds virtual meeting with members of Vision's community.
We'll call on members of the public to please report anybody that they have seen with any property.
Addressing acts of vandalism, Inspector General of Police visits NYC camp in Kubwa, says suspects will face the full wrath of the law.
Each state in the southeast will set up a fund to assist the victims of the crisis.
Southeast leaders to set up support fund for victims of NSAS protest, resolved to engage youths productively.
In the aviation industry, we are all working together to ensure that we do not have an accident.
Plus, towards making Nigeria's airspace one of the safest in the world, key players in the aviation sector evolve additional modalities. Good evening and welcome to the news at 9 on NTA. I'm Ienre John. Suleiman Abdullahi Rigachikun will be reading from our studio in Kaduna. Welcome. President Muhammadu Buhari has expressed Nigeria's commitment to work with an international think tank group and investment promoter, Horaces Global Vision's community, towards finding solutions to challenges facing the country. This was at a virtual meeting with the members of the Vision's community, led by its founder and chairman, Dr. Frank Jurgen Richter, cross-sectional representatives of state governors and corporate organizations in Nigeria. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu has the report.
Founded in February 2005, Horaces Global Visions Community is a platform for frank discussions and generation of multidisciplinary ideas towards the resolution of multifaceted challenges facing mankind. President Muhammadu Buhari expressed optimism that inputs from the international think tank group will enable the work of government and corporate organizations impact more positively on mankind. The president accepted the request by the group to create its African hub in Nigeria. He also commended their vision for an expanded manufacturing through foreign direct investment to make the country a major beneficiary of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement coming into effect next year. President Buhari expressed the hope that many corporate organizations in Nigeria will be drawn into the mainstream discussion around several challenges facing the country and indeed the rest of Africa. He stated the commitment of Nigeria to the proposed annual Africa Summit of the organization.
I would like to express sincere appreciation to both Horaces International and Horaces Nigeria for this meeting and looking forward to a robust summit by your organization in Nigeria. I'd like to assure you of our commitment to play our own role to enable Nigeria benefit fully from the outcome of the upcoming meeting for our citizens.
The chairman of the group, Frank Jurgen Richter, commended Nigeria's economic growth in the last few years and gave strong assurances that the Africa Summit will bring the benefits of increased foreign direct investment to Nigeria. Other speakers at the meeting, including the chairman of the Horaces Visions Community, Professor Shamsuddin Usman, a former Minister of National Planning, the chairman of Nigeria Governors Forum, Dr. Kano of Ekiti State, and the President, Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, Mansur Ahmed, expressed excitement about the good prospects of increased manufacturing through foreign direct investment, which they say will give a comparative advantage to Nigeria in view of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has held a video conference with the President of European Council, Charles Michel, during which the latter reiterated Europe's support for Nigeria's Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala as the next Director General of the World Trade Organization. The President is leading Nigeria's charge for Okonjo-Iweala, the country's former Minister of Finance, to emerge as the first black and female WTO DG. President Buhari thanked the European Council for its support for Nigeria's candidate. Also discussed during the conference were issues bordering on debt relief for Africa, EU-African relations and recharge of the Lake Chad, which has currently shrunk to less than 1/3 of its usual size and thrown about 130 million people who depend on the lake into dire straits. Recharge of the Lake Chad is an issue the Nigerian president had vigorously canvassed at diverse global fora in recent time. President Buhari expressed appreciation to Mr. Michel for expected positive developments on the issues. And still on the World Trade Organization, the campaign strategy team for Nigeria's candidate for the post of Director General, World Trade Organization, had an emergency virtual meeting convened by the Minister of State, Industry, Trade and Investment and chairperson of the campaign strategy team to review and strategize on the way forward on recent developments in the selection process for the appointment. In a statement, the third and final round of consultations for the selection of the DG WTO commenced in Geneva on 19th October and was concluded on 27th October 2020. The chair of the WTO General Council, Ambassador David Walker of New Zealand, was the facilitator of the selection process. The chair of the dispute settlement body and of the trade policy review body informed the WTO membership on 28th October that Nigerian candidate for DG WTO, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, secured overwhelming support of members both in terms of numbers and geographical spread. The appointment of Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala is expected to be adopted by the consensus of all members in line with WTO decision-making procedure. However, the United States of America has registered her reservation on the outcome of the final round. Nigeria appreciates all members of the WTO that have supported her and is currently reaching out to all members, including the United States and North Korea, to join the consensus in adopting the recommendation of the appointment of Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala as DG WTO. In other news, Nigeria remains committed to the engagement of relevant stakeholders to ensure that the lofty aspiration of the candidacy of Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala to lead the World Trade Organization is realized. This is on the sideline of election of a Director General in the World Trade Body. Adebola Brooklyn Sunday reports.
The ministry said although Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala is yet to be declared the winner, despite her cross-regional support and adoption by the panel, especially as a result of the objection of the United States that in accordance with the rule of procedure of the World Trade Body, winner will have to emerge from a consensus, of which the General Council has scheduled a meeting for November 9. Reacting to the development, Dr. Okonjo-Iweala in a tweet said she's so far happy for her success and continued progress of her bid, adding that she is very humble to be declared the candidate with the largest and broadest support among members and most likely to attract consensus.
The members choose on merit from all the candidates. So I don't think it's a divide, and of course I'm the candidate that is chosen and is backed because I think I have the qualifications and the leadership characteristics to do the job.
The front runner said the organization moved to November 9, which will be about 7 days after the US election. Despite the hiccups, it is still keeping the positivity going. Adebola Brooklyn Sunday, NTA News.
Now talking security, 53 persons are in the police custody for alleged looting and vandalism of the Kubwa NYC orientation camp, Abuja, during recent violence of the aftermath of NSAS. Inspector General of Police Mohammed Adamu, who was at the camp for an on-the-spot assessment, says the suspects will be prosecuted. Francis Fom brings us details.
Our NYSC camp is now quiet. It suffered recent attack by hoodlums, although the remnants of grains, broken glasses litter on the ground. A grim reminder of the deviant behavior of some persons, but the security operatives assures that those in connection to the breach of peace are going to pay for it. The Director General of the NYSC, the IGP, went round the camp. Foodstuff, medicine, mattresses, newly acquired NYSC kits, grinding machines, and other valuable items have been carted away.
We call on members of the public to please report anybody that they have seen with any property that came from this camp.
I want to use this opportunity to appeal to Nigerians to not please attack our facilities, because these corps members are going to be trained and are going to render service to our country.
The IGP equally visited the FCT command as a motivation to officers and men, despite the attack on some police formations.
Those officers that lost their lives, adequate compensation has been planned for them.
He assures the personnel of federal government's commitment in reforming the police so as to meet up the contemporary challenges. In Abuja, Francis Fom, NTA News.
And in Anambra State, as normalcy returns, the Assistant Inspector General of Police, Zone 13, Dan Malam Mohammed, has pledged the commitment of the zone in ensuring safety of police formations and members of the public. Udo Koronkwo Chuku reports that the AIG did this while on an assessment visit to some parts of the state to ascertain the level of destruction.
This may seem like a bad time to be a policeman in Nigeria, given the spate of destruction and killings. But for the Assistant Inspector General of Police Zone 13, it is a time for the force to be courageous and patriotic in safeguarding lives and property. The AIG's visit to some of the worst hit areas like Onitsha and Orifite was a way of boosting the morale of officers and men of the force who were displaced by the total destruction of their stations. Territory Police Station, Onitsha, and Area Command Headquarters, Orifite, were destroyed and vandalized. Also, the AIG visited number 54 PMF Squadron and Onitsha Area Command, where he addressed his men.
This is a lesson for all of us. As far as security is concerned, members of public, they are the most important stakeholders. We need their cooperation, we need their support. So, issue of illegal arrest, detention, no.
For the AIG, the most important thing now is for the men of the force to carry out their duties without fear or intimidation.
And I'm again encouraging them to defend police formation, to defend members of public. We are not attacking anybody.
In Oka, Udo Okoronkwo, NTA News.
Meanwhile, leaders of the Southeast geopolitical zone have resolved to engage the youths in the zone and to set up support funds to assist victims of the crisis that followed the recent NSAS protest in the country. This was part of a 6-point communique issued at the end of an expanded meeting of the Southeast governors and stakeholders held in Enugu. Susan Ienre has details.
Governors and other critical stakeholders from the Southeast gathered to discuss the way forward after the NSAS protest and the crisis that followed. The leaders sympathized with the families of victims of the crisis, including the civilians and security agencies, promising to engage the youths to seek lasting peace and a better future.
Each state in the Southeast will set up a fund to assist the victims of the crisis. The state governors are committed to addressing the concerns of our young people that are peculiar to various states, and we engage the federal government and their colleagues in other states to address the other issues that are national.
They advise the youth to shun any form of illegal activities as the government is working hard to meet their demands. The leaders promised to protect people from other ethnic groups living in the Southeast and thanked other parts of the country for protecting people from the zone. In Enugu, Susan Ienre, NTA News.
Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Muhammad Musa Bello, has appealed to religious leaders to engage the youths towards ensuring sustainable peace and development in the territory. The minister made the appeal in Abuja during a meeting with the leadership of the OCT Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN. Shaibu Onoze Yakubu reports.
Led by the recent youth restiveness in the territory, FCT Minister Muhammad Musa Bello urged religious leaders to strive to make the nation's capital a peaceful city of unity to enhance national cohesion.
There was a need for all men and women of goodwill to engage with the youth, to really get to know what the issues are and not to shut them out, so that we can jointly discuss and also bring peace to our beloved city.
Chairman of the FCT Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, Reverend Jonah Sampson, says peace is not negotiable in the country. As such, they will use their platform to promote peaceful coexistence among Nigerians.
As pastors, we should ensure on our pulpit to continue to proclaim peace so that it shall be well with our nation. So basically, this is what we have discussed, and all hands will do on deck to ensure that this is done.
Other top management staff of the FCT administration attended the stakeholders meeting. Shaibu Onoze Yakubu, NTA News.
Still in Abuja, the Nigeria Customs Service is counting losses after the attack on its command and staff college, Gwagwalada, by hoodlums, estimated to be up to 4,000 who hijacked the NSAS protest to loot and perpetrate mayhem. The commandant of the college, Assistant Comptroller General of Customs, Adewale Adeniyi, spoke to newsmen on the incident. Kunle Adeyeye reports.
In Gwagwalada, Abuja took a cue from other parts of the country and looted different public and private places. The Command and Staff College of the Nigeria Customs Service was among places attacked on 26th and 27th October 2020.
This is a training college where we are training youths like them and where we don't have anything like a warehouse holding up palliatives. But soon after, we got information that we are already assailing our fence, and we had to quickly move and see what they were doing and put up an appropriate response.
The level of destruction raised questions on how the hoodlums successfully executed their plan in spite of intelligence reports that may be at the command's disposal.
Those who came into our college, those we could arrest, we arrested them and we handed them over to the police.
Normalcy has since been restored, with the command now evaluating the damage. In Abuja, Kunle Adeyeye, NTA News.
Similarly, the Inspector General of Police has inaugurated a 9-man committee to assess losses suffered by the Nigeria Police Force during the NSAS protest across the country. The IGP noted that the assessment will aid strategic planning, reconstruction and re-equipment. The chairman of the committee, CP Abutu Yaro, has been charged by the IGP to see the assignment as a call to service which must be undertaken with purposefulness, empathy, dedication and sacrifice.
Terms of reference of the committee are 1. To physically visit the scenes and capture the pictorials of all damages done to police infrastructure and personnel. 2. Establish the weapons holding that were lost during the incident. 3. Verify the fatalities suffered by the police. 4. Undertake visit to the families of the deceased police officers and those injured.
This is the network news on the NTA. Let's take our first break. The news continues shortly. Do stay.
A scorecard like no other. Government has put in place measures and initiatives principally targeted at youths, women.
Thank you for staying. The Economic Community of West African States and the European Union are driving a tripartite security component to clamp down on trans-border and organized crimes in the region. Abubakar Usman Akwanga reports that the AQUA initiative was launched virtually this Friday.
Battling cyber crimes, human and drug trafficking, money laundering and other challenges threatening the peace and economic stability of the region. Now a multilateral approach to address all this is in the offing.
thank our partners, notably the EU, the Federal Republic of Germany, for their unwavering commitment to continuously supporting the ECOWAS in dealing with security threats in our region.
With this in mind, that the EU is very proud to be inaugurating today, officially, the support of ECOWAS and its member states in order to rise to the challenge and mount a comprehensive response.
The COVID-19 lockdown, which changed global dynamics in all forms, is being fingered as one of the contributory factors.
A total of 40,143 drug-related arrests were made in 2018 and 2019 collectively, compared to a total of 29,484 in 2016 and 2017.
The government of Germany, together with the European Union, will continue to support this effort.
We work also more generally on the fight against global threats.
Professional and technical methods have been proposed to tackle the challenges. Speakers at the launch advocate sustained collaboration for effective implementation of OCWA projects. In Abuja, Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
If peace and security is to be sustained in any nation, then women must be actively involved, especially in decision and peace-making process for tranquility to prevail. This is the consensus of different women groups at the 20th anniversary of the United Nations Security Resolutions 1325 on women, peace and security held in Abuja. Momso Damien Dati has details.
Just like the song says, women in Nigeria, their development partners, diplomatic corps, as well as other supporters are exploring all possible avenues to promote gender inclusiveness and sustainable peace in Nigeria.
And as women, we believe we have a role to play individually and collectively. We'll continue to play that role.
Promoting women's effective participation and substantive involvement in all issues around peace building.
To commend Nigeria over the last 20 years for being one of the leading countries in Africa deploying women to peacekeeping missions.
Considering the role of women as peace builders in conflict situations, it becomes necessary to come up with a national action plan.
When there is peace, the world prospers. Life goes on without threat. I therefore call on all to embrace peace in all its ramifications. The resolution is hinged on 4 pillars of prevention, participation, protection, and peace building.
The United Nations Security Resolution builds on a body of international human rights laws with consideration for the place of women and girls. In Abuja, Momso Damien Dati, NTA News.
And in Borno State, security agencies have been commended for sustaining internal security at a time when the nation's peace is in jeopardy. The state governor, Professor Babagana Umar Zulum, made the commendation during a security meeting held at the Government House, Maiduguri. Mohammed Goni reports.
Governor Babagana Umara, other parts of the nation have experienced one form of violence or the other, but Borno State enjoyed relative calmness and peaceful atmosphere, largely because of the efforts of the security agencies and the palliative committee.
The committee went around the entire state to distribute the palliatives to both the needy as well as the IDPs in camps and those resident within the host communities across the state. To further underscore our determination to ensure that the palliatives reach the target beneficiaries, I myself have also been to all the local government areas of the state to personally distribute the items and to supervise and coordinate the distribution process.
The governor applauded the performance of the security agencies during the national crisis, and the father noted that the Nigerian military successfully repelled several attacks by the insurgents in Magumeri, Gajiram, and Damboa communities in the state. In Maiduguri, Mahmoud Goni, NTA News.
And away from security, an independent Nigerian energy company, Watersmith Petroman Oil Limited, has completed its 5,000 barrels per day Phase 1 modular refinery located in Imo State. Director, Department of Petroleum Resources, Serki Awalu, during a pre-commissioning visit to the facility, described it as a landmark achievement. Mwaliayo Tukede reports.
And then we have for diesel, for Kero,
The facility, with the crude oil storage capacity of 60,000 barrels, is projected to deliver more than 271 million liters of refined petroleum products per year to the domestic market. Chairman of Watersmith Group, Abdulrazak Isa, stated that the company embarked on the modular refinery project as a way of addressing incessant pipeline vandalism as well as theft of its crude oil products.
This place is going to emerge as an industrial hub. That is the long-term goal we have. So that way, we will produce oil, we will refine it, we will produce petrochemicals, and industries can set up to use the byproducts of the petrochemicals. And that will also lead to more and more employment and job creation.
The business opportunity enablers have come a long way. So we are building a sustainable business not only for ourselves, but of course in support of the business and opportunities enablers and for the rest of Nigeria.
Director, Department of Petroleum Resources, Saki Awalu, while lauding the project, said the modular refinery system is part of Nigeria's push towards energy sufficiency.
My overall assessment is excellent, A+++. This is something that is an exemplary, and they will get all the support they need.
The 5,000 barrels per day modular refinery is set for its official commissioning 2 years after its construction, with products struck out starting immediately with the support of selected firms. In Lagos, Imole Tokide, NTA News.
Kano State government is seeking the cooperation of shipping lines and their agents to allow for the seamless flow of import and export cargoes as soon as the state's inland dry port becomes operational in December. Governor Abdullahi Ganduje was in Lagos, where he solicited the assistance of the Nigerian Shippers Council to actualize this goal. Michael Olaleye reports.
After Lagos, Kano State drives commerce and investment in Africa. The approval of the $1.9 billion rail project from Kano to Maradi in the Niger Republic explains the vital role the state plays in sub-Sahara trade. With investment showing glimpses of unprecedented rebound, the resuscitation of the Kano inland dry port is a game changer in the country's quest to dominate once the African Continental Free Trade Area becomes operational. The Kano State government is fully committed to this blueprint and has invested 2.4 billion naira to upgrade amenities and infrastructure.
We are pleading with you to follow up with the Nigeria Railway Corporation for the rail line extension into the inland port and to facilitate linkages and access to the markets.
Although the initiative will complement the goal of decongesting the Lagos port, but the Nigerian Shippers Council is more concerned about compliance with technological requirements.
Your Excellency, we have to have approved tariff structure, mechanism for settlement of disputes. We need the port to operate 24 hours. We need multimodal approach to cargo delivery.
The projection of Kano Inland Dry Port is to handle 20,000 20-foot equivalent units at commencement of operations. In Lagos, Michael Olaleye, NTA News.
Looking at the airspace now, critical stakeholders in aviation sector in the country are evolving additional modalities to commensurate with global acceptable standards to ensure safety of Nigerian airspace. The idea is to make the country's airspace one of the safest in the world. Muhammad Rabiu Ali reports that this was the focus of the meeting convened at the instance of Accident Investigation Bureau.
The Accident Investigation Bureau, saddled with the responsibility of identifying causes of air mishap, is not resting on its oars in the discharge of its mandate. This gathering of like minds, therefore, will look at some silent issues.
In the aviation industry, we are all working together to ensure that we do not have an accident. And you will see that in the last 5 years, but for about 5 years now, but for the helicopter crash that happened in Lagos recently, we have not had any fatality in the aviation industry. And that's is commendable, because rarely will you find any country in the world that has that record.
This synergy in place with this teamwork properly put in place
there will be proper channel of communication, and that will make things a lot easier for all of us in the sector.
So I learned a lot actually, and I promise to carry this to my station and enlighten the people there.
The meeting also is to fine-tune the operations of the Bureau to address complicated issues in addressing the safety of Nigerian airspace. Muhammad Rabiu Ali, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari says he is saddened by the gruesome vehicle accident in Ogu local government area of Enugu State, in which scores of people died, most of them school pupils. A statement by the special advisor to the president on media, Femi Adesina, the president condoles with the Enugu State government, families of the dead, praying that God will grant them succor and spare the country of such tragedy in future. He also commiserates with the Catholic Church of Ogu, which runs Presentation Nursery and Primary School that the pupils attended. President Buhari enjoins vehicle owners to ensure roadworthiness, as initial reports attributed the accident to brake failure by the truck involved. Having earlier ordered the suspension of all enforcement activities of the Federal Road Safety Corps as a result of the upsurge of the NSAS protest across the country, the Corps Marshal, Federal Road Safety Corps, Boboye Oyeyemi, has ordered the immediate resumption of all operational activities in FRSC formations across the country, as he mourns the victims of the unfortunate fatal crash that occurred in Enugu State, where 21 persons lost their lives out of the 56 people involved in the crash. The Corps Marshal gave the order in a memo to commanding officers following the urgent need to keep the roads safe, enforce maximum compliance to road traffic regulations and safety guidelines, as well as to forestall incidences of crashes and fatalities on the highways. The Corps Marshal stressed that the Corps is ready to put all within its operational might to ensure that such fatalities are averted on our roads. And one of the key strategies towards achieving this is a full deployment of personnel and increased visibility of patrol teams on the highways. Let's take another break. Please stay with us. Justice Ibrahim Tanko Muhammad has called on heads of courts across the country to promote the use of alternative dispute resolution in their courts. He was speaking at a national workshop for heads of courts in Nigeria. Femi Okeowo has the story.
Using the National Judicial Institute as the hub, the conference was held virtually for all heads of courts across the country. And that will include President of the Court of Appeal, Chief Judge of the Federal High Court, President of the National Industrial Court, Customary Court of Appeal, Sharia Court of Appeal, and Chief Judges of the 36 states of the Federation and FCT. The Chief Justice of Nigeria, who himself is the head of the Supreme Court, said that to pay more attention to ADR is to reduce the burden of litigation across the nation's courts. Administrator of the National Judicial Institute spoke of the need to curtail delays in justice administration.
The desire to ensure that our criminal justice sector is at par with global best practices remains intact, that all stakeholders must close ranks to tackle.
The theme of this year's conference is Towards Effective Court Administration. In Abuja, Femi Okeowo, NTA News.
A total of 35 terrorists have been eliminated by troops of Operation Lafia Dole, while 16 suspected cultists were arrested with arms in Plateau State by troops of Operation Safe Haven within the last 7 days. This was announced by the Coordinator, Defense Media Operations, Major General John Ienre, during the weekly news conference on updates of armed forces operation across the country. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa has details.
Details of the operations indicated that 13 terrorists were eliminated in contact at Malamfatori and Juguchari, in addition to 22 that made their Waterloo in clearance operations by troops of Operation Fireball.
Troops successfully foiled terrorist attack on a convoy of vehicles conveying internally displaced persons from Maiduguri to Baga in Borno State.
Similarly, Operation Wutar Tapki, a subsidiary operation under Operation Lafia Dole, using the Air Force fighter jets and helicopter gunship, destroyed several terrorist camps in Ngusaki village in Borno State.
Several air surveillance and air interdiction missions were executed by the Air Task Force during the period under review, resulting in scores of devastating hits in multiple waves of attacks on various locations in the zone.
Other successes recorded include the arrest of 13 bandit collaborators in Tangaza local government area of Sokoto State and 16 suspected cultists arrested with arms in Jos South, Plateau State. Within the period under review, troops of Operation Delta Safe and Operation Calm Water 2 of the Nigerian Navy upscaled the fight against crude oil theft and other crime in the Niger Delta region. From the defense headquarters in Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
Let's pause here in Abuja and let Suleiman feed us with more reports from our studio in Kaduna. Hello, Suleiman.
Ienre, and welcome to Kaduna. Chief of the Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Yusuf Buratai, has carried out an assessment of ongoing manufacturing, retrofitting and repair works on different types of combat vehicles, an area of weaponry at the Engineering Command of the Nigerian Army in Rigachkun, Kaduna. Abdullah Muhammad reports that the assessment is part of the drive to reposition the Army towards realistic military operations.
The newly constructed Nigeria Army made mines-resistant ambush-protected vehicles a critical combat equipment in the fight against terrorism. Proudly watching as the combat beast is test-driven was the Chief of the Army Staff, who initiated and encouraged the use of local content in the various operations of the Army. Lieutenant General Tukur Yusuf Buratai inspected the repairs of troops carrying and armor vehicles which were put back to use. He also visited a unit where the retrofitting and spare of arms manufactured by the Engineering Command takes place. Acting Director, Army Public Relations, Colonel Sagir Musa speaks.
Some of the vehicles that were damaged, particularly combat vehicles, like armored vehicles which you saw, are also being backloaded here, and most of them have been repaired.
The local content initiative adopted in the various operations of the Army has no doubt saved the country billions in foreign exchange that could have been used in the procurement of military hardwares. In Kaduna, Abdullahi Muhammad, NTA News.
Still on national security, Kaduna State Police Command has paraded 157 suspects for their alleged involvement in various crimes, including looting of public and private properties. Achari Maxwell reports that 8 out of the suspects are women, including a pregnant housewife.
This warehouse had over 10,000 tons of soya beans, but this is all gone now. They have been carted away by looters a few days ago. 67 suspects have been arrested by the Kaduna State Police Command in connection with the incident, including the vandalism and looting of NAFDAC warehouse in Kaduna. The police say they are gradually recovering some of the looted items and fishing out suspected perpetrators from their hideouts.
In this regard, I hereby implore the youth to remain law-abiding and pursue their legitimate businesses through education.
The rest have been arrested for their alleged involvement in kidnapping, armed robbery, cattle rustling, and gender-based religion.
Organized by the Emir of Daura, Umar Farouk Umar, also served as an avenue where elders and the ulamas appealed to the youths to tow the path of peace in channeling their grievances rather than resorting to violence.
The prayer session, which replaced the annual Gani Daba festival being conducted in Daura Emirate, was organized to pray for sustainable peace and stability in Katsina and the country at large. Emir of Daura Umar Farouk Umar said the idea to replace the festival with prayer session is to seek Allah's intervention to bring an end to the security challenges bedeviling some parts of Nigeria and to appeal to the youth to shun all forms of violence. Katsina State Governor Aminu Bello Masari, represented by the Secretary to the State Government, Mustafa Muhammad Ienre, commended Daura Emirate for the initiative and called on other emirates in the state to emulate the gesture. He also called on the youth and the general public to always be law-abiding, advising parents to ensure proper upbringing of their children.
It is the responsibility of each and every person to ensure that the society is well behaved and well brought up, especially the youth.
Climax of the event were presentations from Islamic scholars on various issues, including position of protest in Islam, the need for obedience to leaders, as well as the importance of education and prayers in nation building. In Katsina, Shehu Adamu, NTA News.
And now a bit of sports. Friends battle foes in the 2020 Prudent Energy Handball Premier League, which starts Saturday in Abuja. Vadi Adeleye tells us more.
All is now set for phase 1 of the Prudent Energy Handball Premier League, which throws off this Saturday at the Moshood Abiola National Stadium, Abuja. The one pairings will see Kano Pillars begin their title defense against former champions Niger United, with the defenders facing Safety Shooters. In the women's category, defending champions Safety Babes face Edo Dynamo.